Hey everybody, welcome to Software Quality and Beer. Great to have you. I am here with my partner in crime. I got it straight this time, Matt.
There you go.
Matt Kubal,
Hello.
software test engineer extraordinaire. And we've got Brian Cirillo with us. And Brian, I'm going to give a brief introduction, Brian, because Brian and I have known each other now for 16, 17 years. Tomorrow, because we're broadcasting, recording this early, but tomorrow is our Checkpoint Technologies 22nd year anniversary. Brian has been with us for, like I say, about 17 years, handling our website, doing our videos and everything else. But, Matt, Brian, and I individually have had a lot of different conversations about AI and artificial intelligence. We're going to dive into that in a minute. But first, hey, Brian, introduce yourself and share with everybody, kind of what you do at ArcEFX.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
you're the owner.
Yeah, so I'm Brian Cirillo. I run ArcEFX. It's kind of a interesting company, an interesting niche I find myself in, but it's a web development and SEO company primarily, with a strong focus now on creating the content, if you will, to go akin to the client's business to assist them in all aspects. So instead of just website, brochures, it's now more of machine modeling and 3D architecture, world building inside of 3D CAD spaces, just a bunch of different aspects that a business could use instead of just having like a traditional marketing firm. So kind of taking your typical website design and graphic design and then putting it on steroids with regard to building their niche or whatever their industry is inside of a 3D world. So
All right.
That's kind of what I do.
Well, great. And I can tell you, Brian, on the recent holiday video that we did, got a lot of compliments on that. So thank you for making me look good. I appreciate that.
You got it.
But let's talk about AI, because Matt and I, obviously, it's really interesting being in software testing. I mean, you've seen it, Matt.
Yeah.
How, more and more people are asking about artificial intelligence and how to use it for quality and software testing. Talking about Gen AI to actually do the testing. But Brian, what are, share with us how your company uses AI, and give us your honest feelings on AI.
Well, the short answer on my honest feelings of AI is I don't like it.
Okay.
So, but I'll say that with a sidebar of knowing that it is becoming a necessary evil to assist in some of the jobs already. I already see some of I have some clients that had creative writers on their staff that were doing blog posting or creating content for the website. I've seen the parent companies of these release those clients and then trade that completely for AI generated copy that would now live on the website. And the problem with that is you can suggest as much as you possibly can to that client, saying I wouldn't really take this as a final piece of content. Some of the clients you can't really convince that of. So you'll see copy appearing on a website that doesn't sound natural anymore. There's a loss of human emotion and things like that. So in my line of work, I see a lot of copy generation. I try not to use these models for this because it takes away from the expertise of the actual business owner or the technicians inside of the industry actually speaking what is fact. And it's the data sets that these things are trained on are good. But unfortunately, if the model is not trained in the correct way initially, your output could be completely different every time. So in my line of work, it's a lot of copy generation, and it's a lot of more so clients getting in and trying to create the imagery that's going to live on these websites through AI. And right now, as we are in 2025, you can spot an AI image over something that's been created by a 3D artist or a graphic designer. So that's my primary thing I'm saying.
Do you feel like it takes a trained eye to detect that, or do you feel like almost anybody can?
I think anybody that's been around long enough on social media can pretty much spot it now. I mean, we've
Uncanny
all seen
Valley.
What's
There's
that?
an uncanny valley look to a lot of
Yeah,
it.
the long fingers, if you get someone generating,
Sure.
that kind of stuff. But
It's so funny. Just last week, I was watching some video that involved a cat and a baby, and the cat was doing. It's like, no, cats can't do that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, at a certain point, you saw the cat's paws, kind of do this,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, that's not a paw. That's the palm
Yeah.
of a hand.
Yeah.
It was like.
yeah, but
So-
the scary part about that is, I mean, this whole public access to AI generation has only been around a tiny bit of time, and
Right.
we're already to the point where we're looking for minute details to figure out the difference.
Yes.
So the problem with that is what does this whole world look like in 10 years from now, when we've worked out all these bugs and we're now creating this false sense of reality based on the AI bubble? I know that's
Yeah.
the concerning part.
Yeah.
100%.
So Matt, let me ask
Yeah.
you. So with the different clients you deal with of ours, how have you seen an increase? Well, of course you've seen an increase, but how often are they saying, "Hey, Matt, what can AI do for us?"
Yeah.
Or what about for the software testing tools? Hey, we want those that use AI. What are you getting from that? Or are they being cautious?
Well, there's that for sure, especially like government.
Okay.
Very, very cautious. A lot of it is concern from people, like end users, like, is this going to take my job away? Obviously, I don't think we're anywhere near that. I don't think AI is anywhere close to being capable of replacing human eyes looking at something.
Right.
From a tools perspective, obviously everybody's gone out there, you've seen it. Everybody goes out and they just slap the word AI onto everything they're doing. Even though you can
True.
clearly there's no AI involved. It's just a model that's behind it. That there might not even be a model, right? We've had optical character recognition and image recognition for how many years now? 20, 30, 40 years? That technology has existed.
Right.
And a lot of these companies go out and they just slap AI on it. And like, well, it's not exactly.
It's like
what
pattern
they're doing.
recognition. That's really
Yeah.
all it is. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of it's just comparing bitmap to bitmap. Does this
Right.
look like this? Yeah, okay. Is it close enough? That's existed forever.
Right.
And I think it's real easy for them to slap AI on that and for people to go, oh, cool, it's AI.
Yeah.
But if there's no like actual model that's learning behind it and changing as specifically for your application, like there's got to be a way to teach it.
Right.
If you're not linking up to some sort of training mechanism for your application, then I don't see how that's going to really benefit you in the long term.
And I, right now, I agree 100%. And Brian, you and I have talked about Gen AI, and that's where I see a fit right now when it's used correctly. So I know you're using Gen AI. What precautions, or how do you use it? How do you use it? I don't want to make the question too long.
I will say the way I've actually used Gen AI to benefit my business is, I'm guilty of doing this, is unfortunately replacing voice actors. Okay. So there's some very good generative AI right now that can produce, I would say 95% accuracy, realism when it comes to a corporate video voiceover that we need. So currently right now I'm working on a 3D modeling project where I'm drawing an underground world where we're showing a sewer rehabilitation and connection methodology, and all of this is drawn in CAD, and I need to kind of sculpt the landscape with this, and instead of hiring a voice actor to possibly try out a 30-second piece of video, I'll use Gen AI and get a very good result with breath. So we'll have pause, we'll have breath, we'll have enunciation. All of these things are occurring in the Gen AI voice model that can actually be used for professional use.
Okay.
This is a paid, generative AI. It's not the free stuff that you see out there. So on one side of my coin, I'm going, okay, well, it's benefiting my business. It's increasing my ROI. I'm not having to go back and, if you've ever used voice actors before, there's a lot of going back and forth and saying you didn't say this correctly. This cuts out all of that time,
Okay.
So, you gain a lot of valuable voiceover work from this, but at the same point now, I'm guilty of actually just taking somebody's job away.
Yeah.
And to me, ethically, that doesn't make me feel very good. So if that's just one little piece in my little world that I exist in, where else does this go? What does this look like in a long time? That's it's concerning, to say the least.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, the world is definitely changing. You can look at it that at one point in time there used to be a lot of telephone operators, and now there aren't. But on the other hand, we have a lot of jobs in the cell phone market, that have been created. So,
Right.
But you're absolutely right. And one of the things I see, one of the big, so for Gen AI, I've been using it. I'll use it and recommend to clients. They use it maybe for requirements or test case generation, test steps, expected results, things like that. However, it's absolutely critical that somebody review it, and that takes time. So you still need that expertise. So it's not replacing anybody's job, but you've got to review it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I tell people is, when they're going to use Gen AI, you've got to give ChatGPT or whatever solution you're using the persona from the perspective you're using it. So have you been using it at all at any of your clients, Matt, lately?
No.
No.
No. I think it needs context, a lot of context.
Yeah.
You really have to.
Yes.
You can't just go in there and say, make me a login script or whatever. Like, it needs to know what's going on in your application. So you got to,
Right.
Yeah.
even if you're going to go into ChatGPT and start a chat, it's like, okay, I need to train you on how my application works. You got to do a lot of legwork.
Oh, yeah.
before you can get it to
You
do
do.
that.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, I have a
That's
use
right.
case where I've deployed this such thing where I've been assigned a task to generate a serial number based on an existing set of serial numbers for a particular company that had been using them for 10 years. And I wanted to specifically only use ChatGPT to generate the entire application, which was web-based, on a LAMP server. It took me more time to program ChatGPT to actually output the files that I needed to obtain the tasks instead of me just writing the JavaScript and the PHP and doing it on my own. Okay. So, and it also generated, I would say 50% of the time, generated bogus, garbage code.
Oh, really?
That we didn't even, it would break itself because the problem.
And I'm sorry, what percentage was that again?
I would probably say 50%, 60% of the time. It was because you'll kind of get a run where we're working together, right, in GPT, and then it'll start to forget everything. And it goes, well, here's a bunch of code that will replace these last 3 files, and you're going, wait a minute, we just revised this to bug fix this section, and now you're giving me a whole new section that contradicts your previous code. Okay. And we're using old standards from 2.5 years ago instead of using a new way of doing, what are we doing here? So you're spending a lot of time, and you need to have the eyes to be able to see the problems, because if you're just taking it as going, that's deployable, put it in the real world and it gets a truck driven through it the second you have a security vulnerability. So, I've done this to where I've coded it myself, I've logged how much time, I've done it through ChatGPT, and right now, this is late 2024, it's not there,
Yeah.
It seems
it's brand new.
Yeah, it seems to work in small snippets.
Yeah.
For people who are actual coders, like, give me the code to do this.
Right.
Little
Shortcuts.
thing. I had the same experience as you, just trying to. I was curious, so I went in like, here's a game I remember from my childhood, a little handheld game. Let me see if I can program at least the logic to this thing.
Yeah.
And so, explain it to ChatGPT, spits out some code, you plug it in, doesn't compile right. There's an issue on this line.
Right.
Send it back to ChatGPT saying there's an issue with this. It's like, and ChatGPT's like, oh yeah, you're right. Here's some more code.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And the question is, why didn't it get it right the first time?
Right.
And
Right.
of course, it's just because it's an LLM. It's just spitting out the
Right.
next best word that it
Right.
thinks is right, but it doesn't actually understand it. There's no intelligence.
Yeah.
There. And so you plug it back in. There's another problem. You plug it, you give it back to ChatGPT. It's like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Here's the actual
Yeah.
code, and it's just over and over again.
Yeah.
So you really need to be a developer to start with to use
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And you get a lot of people that want to get into development. Like I've seen this on a small scale where somebody that's been doing just maybe a little bit of WordPress web design gets a little cocky with ChatGPT, and now all of a sudden they're trying to sell their services, and they're becoming this AI hero. But the problem is they lack the knowledge to look back at the code that's being produced and understand the vulnerabilities that it's producing. Maybe you'll get it right, maybe you won't. This, and I'm speaking to plugin development for SEO.
Right.
I've seen someone that's proficient in doing easy back-end updates to a website go ahead and try to get a little bit more, I don't want to say cocky, but a little bit more aggressive in trying to prove their worth with the company and doing their own plugin through ChatGPT and saying, look at me, I'm a hero.
Right.
And then when you actually test it with, say, 10 or 15 or 20 users on the website, it breaks.
Yeah.
And that is going to cause it. So ChatGPT is creating AI heroes, is what I call them, because you're not really good. You're just good enough to have gotten lucky to program the model in the right way one time. So,
and another problem is the security, right? Like, so there's no, you can't go to ChatGPT and say, hey, do this thing also, make it secure.
Yep,
right?
exactly.
So
Two
you have to know what
different
you're doing. So you can easily get the code to do what you want it to do, and then somebody could scour with a security tool and say, hey man, you got all sorts of problems.
Right.
And as a hero, like you're saying, who's gotten too cocky, you have no idea why it's broken.
And then you're in trouble, and you have someone that's actually paying you money, and now you're going to get yourself into a real pickle. And then you could try to go back to ChatGPT and say, make my application secure, and there's no context as to what it is. It's going to ask you, what environment are you on? If you're green, you have no idea. So it's, it's...
Yeah. So in closing, so Matt, what would you tell everyone if they have to use Gen AI or any kind of AI? What warning would you give them? Just
you mean like for
watch
for
out
testing?
for, or go do this, or
specific to testing?
yes, specific for, since you and I, since that's what we do. Yeah,
well,
specific to testing and quality.
Like you said, you have to review it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to spit out a bunch of garbage.
All right.
Very likely. It's going to look great, but it might not understand your context, and so you're going to go slap something in from ChatGPT or whatever tool.
Got it.
And you're going to look foolish to somebody going to try to run a test or something.
Right.
If you haven't reviewed it, it might not actually make sense to somebody who's trying to.
All right. So Matt says review it.
Yeah.
So Brian, what would you say?
I'm going to go on to say the same thing. Review and verify
Review
before
and
you
verify?
deploy. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, if you're going to use it for a website as your copy, it better know everything about your business before it ends up being on your web page, because Google's models are detecting AI at a very rapid rate, and I've been doing this for long enough that I know that Google is going to start to understand that a lot of people are using AI for this kind of thing, and they're going to be able to find the purely AI generated stuff, which is going to be a lot of your spam websites, and then the stuff coming from an actual human. So
Do you rank you as a result?
I've actually seen pretty much, I've seen websites that rank really well with no AI, and websites that are coming up, as long as their page rank and everything is good, hold with the websites that are humanly written. But that's not to say in future algorithm updates they're not going to figure this out, because this is going to become a dangerous thing where we have just a bunch of AI spun content existing as websites that are doing commerce. You know, so I would say if you're going to use AI in the real world, verify, test, and make sure that you have enough knowledge behind the AI generated piece that you're confident that you could put it out there as professional work.
Awesome. And the thing I would say, you both have, obviously I agree 100% on the review. The other thing, make sure you know how to use it, that you give it a persona to help with the context. So with that being said, I mean, I feel like we could go on for hours about this. But hey, everybody, because I know you're dying to know, what is it that Bob has in front of him? I have batch 1, because we are at Thirsty Buffalo in Odessa, Florida. I want to give them kudos for letting them film here. You see these cool vats, beer vats, right? That's what do we call those? Beer vats?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll go with beer vats.
I don't know. Tanks.
But hey, everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank Brian so much, not only for being our guest, but for everything he does for Checkpoint Technologies. So cheers, sir.
Cheers.
And Matt, thank you. And everybody, have a great day. Let us know some different things you'd like to hear about. All right, take care and have a great day. Cheers.